DonInLondon, hello. December 16th, my video's all about recovery from addiction to either substances or behaviour. My substance, if you like, alcohol, so I'm a recovering alcoholic, but my behaviour could also be addictive towards people, places and things. So these days, having moved away from the problem, sober one day at a time, I'm living in the solution, which is to live sober so the rest of my life can work, as it may be, on a daily basis. And I'm in a one-day program, just simply a one-day program, 24 hours. That's the only time scale that seems to work, where I can live in the day and live in the moment of now. And why do I say that, and why do I stress it? Well, if I try to make it more complicated, I'd start thinking a lot, trying to think my way into solutions rather than let solutions happen as life affords. So if I'm single-minded with my own thinking, I'll probably end up in the problem again, because my thinking kept me in the problem for a long time, and that was believing that my ideas, my way, my choices as they were when I was drinking were sound and better than anybody else's, because I wouldn't let any more information into my head than was already there. So these days, more open, honest and willing to approach life as it is, life on life's terms as I've come to understand it. And what's made this possible? Well, family, friends, medical people kept me alive long enough to have a moment of clarity, and I say that with great gratitude these days, because when I was stuck in the problem, I did not want to be saved. I wanted to either save myself or perish. That's how single-minded I got. So I wasn't open to anything. I was very unwilling, and I was quite dishonest about my situation, and in denial. And denial is a reaction to not being able to cope with reality as it is. So what helps me on a daily basis? Well, fellowship, predominantly. If I can be sober, lean on a fellowship for wisdom, experience, strength and hope, I can make the best of what is, rather than what I might wish it to be. And that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and I don't speak for it, full of unique, authentic people who will speak where they will, in their own way, about their recovery. And what I've learned is it is the many voices of people in the fellowship, and the many voices outside the fellowship, which I can hear now, today, to help me make the best of what is. What a change, moving from the problem into a solution on a daily basis. So what is AA, and how does it help me? I share the AA preamble here, then a daily reading from the Daily Reflections book, and then something from the AA Big Book, seeing as I have more time on these videos. But the intention is you can shut off whenever you like. When you've had enough, or it's not for you, just turn me off. That is the greatest freedom, to make a choice about what is good for you, and I may not be. This is just one outlook, but it's based on fellowship, and it's based on the wisdom I've learned from other people. So AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And whilst we concentrate on sobriety, everybody brings everything into the rooms and meetings of AA, their whole personality, their whole life experience, be it good or bad, and then we work out where the wisdom is, the wisdom which will help us on a daily basis keep sober. So if we're sober, then the rest of life can happen. If we're sober, we learn how to love, be loved back, and be useful again, rather than stuck in a problem and people worrying themselves about us when there's nothing they can do. And this is the truth of it. If I couldn't get myself out of the addiction problem on my own without help, and I refused help because I thought self-will would work, willpower didn't work, and I needed more. So how can other people help if they don't understand a way to keep sober a day at a time? And now family understand I'm a more complete human being because they see me sober and more able to take on board anything they have to say and to be involved and included in family, community and society. So it's a bridge back to modern living. Simple as that. But it takes an awful lot of time, it seems, in my case, to be sober and then keep sober, because it's emotional and spiritual balance, whatever is going on. So we still have to deal with the ups and downs of life. They don't go away, and we're not on a pink cloud of euphoria. We become normal like everybody else, but in the process I found that ordinary is quite extraordinary, because I don't need to fix myself in order to live reality. All I need to do is turn up for life. So, daily reflections for today from this book. It covers the 12 steps and 12 traditions of the fellowship. 12 steps for an individual to improve their outlook, to be open, honest and willing to change, to move into action, to be in the solution of living, and 12 traditions which hold the fellowship together. So for today, December the 16th, it talks about partners in recovery. Nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. Both you and the new man must walk day by day in the path of spiritual progress. And for me, spiritual is simply being able to live in the moment of now, mind, body and spirit, in reality. Follow the dictates of a higher power, and you will presently live in a new and wonderful world, no matter what your present circumstances. And that's true for me, even in the early days when I was ragged and running from meeting to meeting to keep sober and not go down to the market for more booze, and not going down to the local bar or pub. And when it talks about a higher power here, it can be God, it could be accessing your own good conscience, what is good for me today, good conscience, or whatever it is you come to understand that works in your life. So, and it goes on to say, doing the right things for the right reasons. This is my way of controlling my selfishness and self-centeredness. Selfish in my outlook, wanting to keep on being in the problem, and self-centeredness, it's all about me, when in fact it's all about us. I realised that in my dependency on a higher power, clears the way for peace of mind, happiness and sobriety. I pray each day that I will avoid my previous actions, so that I will be helpful to others. So in other words, moving from the problem of self-obsession into the solution of awareness about me and my attitudes and my circumstances and how I fit with the rest of the world, rather than getting the world to fit around me. And to what extent that happens really is dependent on our spiritual condition, the ability to see life as it is today. And that's the daily reflection, if you like, for today. And the serenity prayer, which I would follow with, goes like this. I am going to follow with it like this, and then talk about the promises. Depending on how much time you've got, you can go do whatever you do, or you might have switched off already. I don't know. What's important is I shut it down at this point, and then I want to talk about the promises, as I am now allowed the time. So to the serenity prayer, which is absolutely useful in any situation, be it good or bad or indifferent, is an exhortation or reflection, meditation, whatever you want to call it, to good conscience more than anything, and to God, a higher power. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is for me always just for today. And now about the promises. And in recovery I've learned an awful lot from books like this. This is my big book, and you can just about see Alcoholics Anonymous on the front of it. And it's my really, really big book because it's huge. It's got big writing. And it comes in mini versions as well, like this one. Much more handy. You can carry that in your pocket. I use it when I'm going about, or used to use it when I was going about on public transport, which I can't do so much these days because of other matters. But it has a passage on the promises, which is often read on a Friday night, which is tomorrow night for me, in a meeting called The Promises, down the road at the hut. Into Action it comes from, and it's on page 83 in this particular copy. And it says here, the spiritual life is not a theory, we have to live it. And when it talks about the spiritual life, it's, for me, living in the moment of now. All the Eastern philosophies, all the Western philosophies to do with how to live, it's all about living life on life's terms. So what is spiritual? Well, it's now. And what is our spiritual journey? It's every moment in our lifetime to now. So we haven't been losing out on the spiritual experience when we've been stuck in addiction. We've just been having a fairly rotten spiritual experience because we're stuck and we can't move on. So part of the spiritual experience now is living reality. We have to live it. And it says here, unless one's family expresses a desire to live upon spiritual principles, we think we ought not to urge them. We should not talk incessantly to them about spiritual matters. They will change in time. Our behaviour will convince them more than our words. We must remember that 10 or 20 years of drunkenness would make a sceptic out of anyone. So that's talking about how do people view us, and how do we share what's happening to us? How do we transfer our learning in the fellowship into reality? And that's by doing, into action. There may be some wrongs we can never fully right. We don't worry about them if we can honestly say to ourselves that we would right them if we could. It's making peace with the past. Some people cannot be seen. We send them an honest letter, and there may be a valid reason for postponement in some cases. We don't want to do more harm than good. But we won't delay if it can be avoided. We should be sensible, tactful, considerate and humble without being servile or scraping. As God's people, we stand on our feet. We don't crawl before anyone. In other words, we stand up to what we've done and accept the consequences, and we make restitution where we can. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. And I was amazed before I was halfway through. I was amazed to be alive. I was amazed that people would actually accept I was trying to do something to be a normal human being again. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend, this is the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. We will suddenly realise that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And for me, God is truth, love and wisdom. It's the truth I learn through others. So if that's what God is, learning, coming out of a problem into a solution and being a part of, not the actual solution itself, but being a part of the answer by being there and turning up. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialise if we work for them. And that's the promises at the end of step 9. And, you know, what I've found is that all these steps have their place in an understanding of how to live life. And the reason why I've done videos over the year, 12 steps and the 12 traditions, is to share what is happening on a daily basis for me in terms of my outlook and my thinking, and more importantly, my emotional and spiritual well-being. AA is an emotional, spiritual, physical program of recovery, one day at a time. And it doesn't mean we're going to improve to be better than anybody else. It just means we're going to be able to improve so that we can turn up for life and live it and be a part of. So we take different roles in society, and whether we're the person who is making sure the streets are clean, and I've done that, or worked in the boardroom, and I've done that, and everything in between, I've probably done all that too. It's not me bragging, it's just that I've had so many different experiences as life has changed. That's the beauty of being included. Freedom in the moment to make choices about what is possible and what is not possible, and do it sober. So if I were to go to a disco, I don't need to go get drunk in order to chat somebody up. Mind you, I'm getting a bit old for that. But in AA we have dances, so yes, look out. The answer is we start to have fun, and we also have melancholy depending on what's going on for us. And again, the serenity prayer, which helps me at any point in the day, that's part of the promises for me, to turn up for life and be able to make the best of what is. That's beyond my wildest dreams, because my old wild dreams were, if I ruled the world, every day would be the first day of Don's idea of what it was all about. And it's not that anymore. I don't want to rule the world, I just want to be a part of it and turn up for life. The serenity prayer to God of good conscience, as you come to understand, and it is always an individual's understanding of what works in their life. So I'm no longer afraid of the word God. God is truth, love and wisdom for me. I'm no longer afraid of what other people think God is or feel God is, because that's what they've come to understand as well. So 6.5 billion people on the planet, a combination of agnostic, atheists and believers, but we all live in the same moment, and if we've got a clear head we experience it as best we can. And this serenity prayer helps me when I'm not quite sure, or I'm overconfident, to rein back and look at reality again. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and then the wisdom to know the difference. Well, for me and for today, that's the way I hope it will remain. Don in London, hello. 16th of December 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour, could be addictive to workaholic, relationships, collecting, needing the next right thing, needing to feel right, be perfect, and never so. So these days, in recovery from addiction, or in recovery one day at a time, never fully recovered, because I know I can go back to the malady. It would only take one drink to set the madness off again. It's okay to be me in the present moment, and to know that it's just as it may be. So what's helped me get to recovery, or to be in recovery and live one day at a time? Well, family, friends, community, all have their part to play in helping me stay alive long enough to find a way to live in a sober manner, or just live sober. And it was only when I got to a place of rock bottom that I realised that I couldn't do it on my own. Whatever was going to happen next, I couldn't do it on my own, because I was looking at the end of my life for sure. And when I realised I'd had enough of waking up and thinking I didn't want to wake up, it would have been much easier just to slip away, and it would have been far easier in some ways to have done that back then. But then I wouldn't have understood much about life. 35 years of drinking, the first one did do the damage. It changed the way I felt, or it enabled me to access feelings of conviviality, joy, as well as sadness as well. So something activated in me with that first drink, and I guess it was taking the fear away, being able to put a brave face on when I needed to, or just try and live as other people lived, because I hadn't got a clue how to live myself. So these days, what helps me most to be sober, so I can be part of family, have friends and be in the community, is a fellowship, and that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. It's full of unique, authentic people who speak for themselves where they choose. And the gift of unique, authentic people is they all have their outlook, their personal outlook, and their own unique, authentic path. So what is AA? Well, there's a statement of intent which is shared at every meeting, and I share it here each time I do a video, simply because it slows me down into the moment of now, where I can access and be a part of life, only in the moment. And it keeps on changing, and that's the gift. But here's the statement of intent, which helps me. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And that's part of why I do these videos. In the first instance, I had friends who couldn't get to meetings, and they asked me, what's it like at a meeting today? So I thought I'd do a video, and it's been going on for some years now. So I go to meetings of AA, and I went to a splendid one last night. And I say splendid, it doesn't mean it was splendid for everybody, but it was one of those meetings where listening happened, and it was a good chair, and it was somebody I've known since they came into recovery, and they have their own unique, authentic take on what is making life work today for them, their own personal experience, strength and hope. And it inspired people. And it inspired people who were tired out by a day of hard graft at work and absolutely driven mad by the public transport system here in London, UK, because often it's the only way to get about. Cars are pretty useless often. From people who were just fresh and happy and just like to be in meetings, a bit like me. I don't know if I was that fresh and happy last night, but I was able to listen, and when we listen to somebody share their experience, strength and hope, either we see the similarities or we feel the differences, or we feel the similarities and we feel the differences, and we take from what a person says, which is useful to us, and often the least useful can be the most useful, because it's telling us whether we're judging the world or judging a person and their life and our own lives. So as we judge others, so we are actually judging ourselves and our own spiritual and emotional condition. So my spiritual condition is contingent on how I feel right now. So this morning I'm feeling a bit tired. Most of the world I'm okay with, but not all of the world. And I realise I may be part of a problem for a person rather than a solution. So part of what you might have seen on my videos is an expression of sadness that I cannot be a part of, because I am maybe the problem. And that is a sadness in me. You can't always be the answer or support. And people have to find their own path. And that is, it's an acceptance issue for me. Can do, can't do, and know the difference. So what else do I share here? Well, I share literature of AA and daily reflections, and in this book, Daily Reflections, which is an AA literature book, there's 1 page a day, and it's all about the 12 steps of the program to change attitude and behaviour on a daily basis. So I can change my attitude and behaviour on a daily basis if I know what's going on for me, and the way I know what's going on for me is to be sober and to listen to other people and share, because they will give me feedback. So for December 16th, which is December is part of the 12th step, or rather is all about the 12th step in this book, which is about sharing a message. And it says here, for the 16th of December, partners in recovery. Nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. Both you and the new man or woman must walk day by day in the path of spiritual progress. Follow the dictates of a higher power, and you will presently live in a new and wonderful world, no matter what your present circumstances. So sometimes it's not so good, and we can't be helpful. But mostly we can, even when we can't. That's the oxymoron of life, really. We can, we can't. Doing the right things for the right reasons, this is my way of controlling my selfishness and self-centeredness. I realise that my dependency on a higher power clears the way for peace of mind, happiness and sobriety. I pray each day that I will avoid my previous actions so that I will be helpful to others. And you know, prayer and meditation is something we all do all day long. It's that inner voice inside us. And sometimes the inner voice says, I want to be able to help. And why can't I? Or why can't I be a part of? And the simple answer is, it's probably inappropriate at this moment in time, or forever. And you never know, do you? But the gift is, we start to learn that, you know, helping others helps us more than anything, because it does take away the selfishness. But we mustn't become do-gooders, because if we do that, then we're doing no good at all. And we're also judging people. And there is a reading here, I don't know if I've got time for it. I don't think I have. It's all about aspects of spirituality. No, I haven't. So I'm going to shut that. Life can be tough, and the gift in sobriety is that if we keep on sharing, including ourselves in what is going on, especially in fellowship or in areas of life where people can give us support, then we learn to be a part of again, and stop isolating, and stop excluding. And the gift is, we find people who can help us, or others who can help others, and that is the best way to approach it. So we are not the answer completely for other people ever, but we can maintain our own sobriety. Excuse me. So at the end of these videos I always share the serenity prayer to God or good conscience or a higher power of your understanding. Good conscience is good, as much as anything. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is and always for me, just for today.